I never met this man. And in his dream, he says, the safest place for you is to go back to your grandmother's house. To the undiscerning, to the naive, that would sound like encouragement or advice. Go back to your grandmother's house, Briana. You're not safe out here. Go back. But I know the journey that I've taken to walk out of this generational curse of my family. And I know that this house has represented so many things, so many negative things spiritually for me. And so I knew that that was a threat. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Kingdom Living Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Briana Whiteside. I'm so excited to encourage you this Monday morning. I'm so excited to partner with heaven to bring you inspiration as you start the top of the week. You all go ahead and like this video, get it started in the algorithm. And if you find anything that I've said to be of benefit, I want you to share it with someone. You never know who may be struggling. You never know who may be going through some dark seasons and they need some encouragement and being uplifted. And so if you find this video helpful, I want you to send it to them. As a matter of fact, send it to 3 people. Today we're talking about Matthew 5. As a matter of fact, we're talking about Matthew 5, verse 14 through 16, but more specifically, we're going to focus on verse 16. But let's read the entire scripture. It says, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." So let me tell you a quick story. I've been thinking a lot about generational curses and generational blessings. And, you know, in the charismatic movements, we talk a lot about those things. And in other places, too, they may not use the words curses. They may use patterns or trends or things of that nature. And as I was thinking about generational curses and blessings, I began to think about how do we really walk out of curses and how do we really walk into blessings? And of course, the first thing that came to mind was obedience. You need to obey God, right? Because some level of disobedience created some type of generational pattern or curse. So if disobedience has created that, then that would mean that obedience would create the opposite effect, right? Which is generational blessings. And then shortly after that, and I started to, let this marinate in my mind, I have a dream. And if you've been following me for any stretch of time, you know that I talk about my dreams. And more specifically, a lot of my dreams surround my childhood home. And I'm not saying that that the home will always represent someone's maturation, but in my life it does, because my childhood home was a generational home. And what I mean by that is there were always 4 generations. There was 4 generations of people living there. So there was my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my mother, and me, all in one house at the same time at one time of my life. And so I've had various dreams about me migrating throughout this home, from the front porch to the living room, the dining room, to the kitchen, to the back porch, to the backyard, to the alleyway, and, even like having my bags packed, leaving this house. But this particular dream happened. It was very fascinating. There was a man in my dream. I never met this man. I knew it was a man. I heard his voice. I felt his presence. I knew it was masculine. And in his dream, he says, the safest place for you is to go back to your grandmother's house. Now, to the undiscerning, to the naive, that would sound like encouragement or advice. Go back to your grandmother's house, Briana. You're not safe out here. Go back. But I know the journey that I've taken to walk out of this generational curse of my family. And I know that this house has represented so many things, so many negative things spiritually for me. And so I knew that that was a threat. That was a threat. The safest place for you is to go back to your grandmother's house. Now, all hell has been breaking loose. And in the dream, I said, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not going back to my grandmother's house, because my grandmother practiced witchcraft. Her mother, I'm pretty sure, practiced witchcraft. I don't know what my great-great-grandmother did, but I do know for sure that my great-grandmother and my grandmother did. So why would this person in a dream, if he was sent by God, why would he tell me that? This was a demonic warning. If you keep progressing forward, we're going to do something, or we're going to try to do something. And as a result, I said, no, I'm not doing that. What does this have to do with letting your light shine? The only thing that I'm doing is letting my light shine. The only thing that I'm doing is obeying God and walking in purpose. The only thing that I am doing is what God called me to do, even when it's with tears in my eyes, even when it feels hard, when I feel like giving up. And y'all, today I felt like giving up. Even when it gets hard, I show up and I let my light shine. And it is the very fact that I'm committed to letting my light shine that the enemy is trying to turn up the heat or threatening to turn up the heat. But this is how I know I've already broken through something, and I'm advancing mightily and with speed to the next level. And they're afraid. Why would you send a warning like that? Why would you send a threat like that if I was not close to where you don't want me to be? If I was not close, because if I get out, everybody connected to me is getting out. Everybody in my family is getting out who want to get out. The same is true for you. It is not, breaking generational curses does not have to be hard. It is hard. The process is hard, but it doesn't have to be a mystical thing. Yes, pray. Yes, fast. But obedience will take you there. Obedience will cause you to walk on out of the curse, just like disobedience caused that curse to land on your lineage and get stronger and stronger over the years. And so when Jesus is telling his listeners, first and foremost, he said, you are the light of the world. I have said this about you. So every decision you make needs to come from the seat of what I said, because that is the truth. You are the light. And then we drop down and he says, let your light shine before others. Let it. That means to allow it to happen. That means that you have the ability to not let it. You have the ability to dim your own light. You have the ability to stop the progress from being made. You have the ability to say, I don't want that opportunity. You have the power, because this is your life. This is why he says, let it happen. Allow it to happen. Because just because I said you are the light has to shine. The light is responding to what? His word about you. The shining, the brightness of the light is responding, but you have legal right to dim it. You have the legal right to say, we're not letting this light shine. Light gone off. You know what I mean? And it will dim because you have free will. But he's saying, let it shine before others. Let other people see it. What's going to happen? It says that they may see your good deeds. So this is telling you that good deeds, things that you're able to do, is going to be tied to the seat of who you are. And who are you? You are the light. As a son and a daughter of the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, you are the light. And because you are the light, and because you rest in who you are, and because you stand in your authority, your light is going to shine. And as a result, it's going to produce these good deeds, which are going to be beneficial and advantageous to you and your family and your lineage. And then, as a bonus, as a result of people seeing, now we can look at this in two ways. We can look at this when it says, and glorify your Father in heaven. We can look at this in a way of people seeing your gifts, and then they begin to be converted and glorify the Father in heaven, because generally success draws interest. And if people see you interested, or people see you winning in life, they're going to say, hey, how you doing that? Then you get to testify about the man named Jesus who has turned your life around. And then they come to you like Nicodemus, what must I do to be saved? How can I get this good news? Or we can look at this scripture in terms of your deeds are going to glorify the Father in heaven, your good deeds, right? These things, your gifts that you're going to have on display, your light that you're allowing to shine, will then testify, basically, will then glorify the Father in heaven. But as we're thinking about walking out of generational curses, you need to understand that you walk into the generational blessing by obeying and allowing your light to shine. You don't get to the next level by suppressing the essence of who you are, by fearing men in their faces, by cowering, you don't. Because if you did, your generation would be further than that. But that means that somebody didn't do what they were supposed to do, and you started at a later or a further back starting line than you were supposed to. You may have been supposed to start 10 yards down the road. But because someone didn't do what they were supposed to do, you're starting at a deficit. But you don't have to end at the deficit. The way that you don't end at a deficit is to let your light shine. That is a strategy, but not only a strategy, it is a command. Allow it to happen. Allow it to happen. The light has to respond to the word that went forth about you. Let it respond. You're trying to hinder it. You're trying to quench it because of what people may say. Stop that. They don't have a heaven or hell to put you in. They don't pay your bills. And it does not even matter at the end of the day because you were wired for your destiny. And every time you don't meet the marker of where you're supposed to be, you frustrate yourself. Your life stagnates. You got to deal with the consequences. No one else. So this Monday, I want you to let your light shine in whatever way that means for you. In whatever way that means for you, allow your light to shine because that is how you walk out of the curse, through obedience, allowing it. Break up with fear. And if you need to, forgive yourself for being fearful and missing out on opportunities, I want to encourage you to listen to the podcast episode that is right under the podcast link on this channel, the Book of Briana, because you got to forgive yourself. But your encouragement today is to rest in the essence of who you are and let your light shine because that is what you were wired to do. I hope this has encouraged you. I hope this has blessed you. I hope this has challenged you. If it has, go ahead and like the video. As I said, feel free to share this with 3 friends who need the encouragement to allow their light to shine. And I will see you soon in another installment of the Kingdom Living Morning Show. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.